All right, let's move on right along to our next presentation. We are right on time. Armo Albana, CEO of Aditxt. Let's get him on. Oh, I think we just lost Amro's. Nope, we got it back. Amro, can you hear me?
Spencer, can you hear me?
I
I
hear you.
can.
I hear you, and I see you, and I see your slides. Great.
Wonderful.
All right,
All right. Ready to go?
ready to go.
Great. Good to see you again, Spencer. Thanks for the opportunity. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. I appreciate your interest in Aditxt. And before I jump into the presentation and every slide, let me tell you how I divided up this presentation. Number one, I'm going to talk about the DNA of Aditxt as a company, who we are, what our mission is, where we're located. Number two, I'll discuss our innovation platforms from immunotherapies to immune monitoring. And finally, I'm going to end with commercialization, which is really key focus for us as a company in terms of how do we take these amazing innovations that we've been working on to commercial markets. Again, my name is Amro Albana. I am the co-founder and CEO of Aditxt. So with that, let me begin with our company. As a public company, we're traded on NASDAQ stock exchange. We right now have approximately a market cap of $33 million. Our share price hovers around 160, 180. Outstanding shares at this point, probably about 22 million shares. And the cash in hand, as we reported last quarter, was about 8.6 million. But please keep in mind that we also announced publicly another round of capital of $11 million to satisfy a term of an LOI to acquire a biopharmaceutical company. Our mission, we innovate and commercialize promising innovations that are focused on the prevention, treatment, and monitoring of immune-related diseases. We don't accomplish that mission, or we can't accomplish that mission by ourselves. We actually managed to bring in and attract partners, global partners that are leading in the field of immunology, from Loma Linda University, one of the leading medical schools here in Southern California, Stanford University Immune Tolerance Network, and on the commercialization side, we work very closely with Becton Dickinson as a vendor on our flow cytometry specifically, and other partners to help us bring promising innovations to market. Our product development center and R&D center is based in Silicon Valley, California, Mountain View, California. Our immune monitoring center is located in Richmond, Virginia, and many of our other business functions, including legal, business development, finance, accounting, and others, are located in New York City. Our corporate leadership, we managed to attract a great group of people. Actually, the slide really doesn't do it justice. This is just few people that represent our corporate leadership, but the focus here is to build it to the finish line, to the commercial market. That applies to our independent board as well. We have a board with strong background and diversified background in finance, in business, in legal, in public affairs, and other areas, certainly biotech and life sciences. So with that, let me begin talking about our innovation platforms. The two that I'm going to focus on today are Aditxt Score, which is the immune monitoring side, how we can begin to understand someone's immune profile and immune status. And the second platform is focused on therapeutics, treatment, which we call Aditxt reprogramming. So beginning with immune monitoring. So look, for the last couple of decades, we've been talking about precision medicine. The field of the medical field has been talking about precision medicine. And in our view, you cannot really begin to talk about precision medicine until we begin talking about precision profiling, or understanding someone's immune profile, so we can begin to make better decisions as far as approach and course of action given the individual's immune profile. So we developed Aditxt Score. The origin of Aditxt Score was actually a partnership with Stanford University. We licensed an IP focused on identifying, quantifying immune cells as well as their activities. And this is, as an example, really understanding Aditxt Score is its unique ability to be able to identify and quantify multiple immunoanalytes to give us a better picture, a meaningful picture of someone's immune profile. I'm going to get into that a little bit more when it comes to commercialization, but let me give you an example. COVID-19 is a perfect example. Early 2020, we started hearing about how antibody tests could be useful in the fight against COVID-19, but we quickly realized that really antibody tests are not sufficient enough to give us the full picture of someone's immune profile. Our immune system is very complicated. It's not a matter of true or false. It's not a matter of positive or negative. You really have to be able to measure multiple analytes and look at multiple analytes all at once with high specificity, high sensitivity, and high precision in order for us to understand how someone's immune response is given a particular threat or a particular pathogen. So that's Aditxt score. We see Aditxt score obviously applying to infectious diseases. COVID-19 is a big area right now for us with Aditxt score for COVID-19. But beyond infectious diseases and beyond COVID, we would want to understand someone's immune profile when it comes to diabetes. Imagine if we can measure someone's susceptibility to diabetes or a newborn baby susceptibility to type 1 diabetes, so we can take an appropriate course of action. Team in Richmond, Virginia, this is where our Aditxt score monitoring center is located. We assembled a great team that understands diagnostics, understands the market. They come, some come with background from the Mayo Clinic and other areas. And we are working very closely with our team at Aditxt Score Immune Monitoring Center to really begin launching Aditxt Score into commercial markets with COVID-19, infectious diseases, and others. That gets me into therapeutics. Before I begin talking about our therapeutics, so there are 3 major areas of medicine that could potentially be addressed by immune tolerance. Those are organ rejection, are caused by one common cause, which is our immune system overreacting to a specific cell or tissue. So when it comes to organ rejection, our immune system does its job and it begins rejecting a transplanted organ. It recognizes that it's a foreign organ, it will begin to reject it. In autoimmune diseases, our immune system somehow forgets to treat it as a foreign tissue. In allergies, our immune system will overreact to an external substance or an allergen. An immune tolerance field has been focused on, can we retrain the immune system to make it recognize that something is self, immune system as a whole? Can we actually retrain the immune system? But the 3 questions that have been out there, even though the immune tolerance technology and research have been shown to be possible in research setting, from a commercial point of view, the question is, can it be turned into a product? Will it require additional hospitalization? And is it economically and logistically feasible to produce? And we believe a product or a technology that can answer those 3 questions will be a major disruption and a major breakthrough in the field of immune tolerance. And this is really what we've been working on. So we've been developing a new class of therapeutics designed to retrain the immune system to make it recognize a specific cell or tissue as self. At a very high level, this is obviously a therapeutic. It's made up of 2 main components. One component is designed to initiate apoptosis, which is the natural process that our immune system uses to retrain itself and reminds itself of what is a friendly. And the second piece is antigen-based DNA to instruct the immune system with this specific antigen that this specific antigen is friendly. We have significant IP portfolio developed around this technology. At this point, we have a bit more than 100 patents issued in the US and internationally. Similar to Aditxt Score, we have an amazing team that is leading our therapeutic side. And without really getting into the resume, our team understands science, they understand commercialization, they understand IP, and they understand how to bring a new product to market, especially in the form of partnerships with other larger pharmas in the field, which is really our business model, not to take therapeutics all the way to the end, but to really get to a point where we can show safety and efficacy and establish some of those key relationships that we need in order to bring it all the way to full commercializations. So with that, I discussed the company. I discussed some of the innovation that we're working on, but ultimately, as I always tell my team and as I always share with our shareholders, ultimately, we must transition from a great story, which we are, to a growth story. And the only way we can do that is to begin moving towards commercialization. So when it comes to the field of immunology, you're looking at autoimmune diseases, infectious diseases, allergies, organ transplantation, CNS, such as multiple sclerosis. There are many areas that our technologies can apply to. And now we are beginning to really focus on initial key areas where we can translate our innovation into commercialization in this area. So starting with infectious diseases, COVID, everybody heard about it, everybody's talking about it, and it really reminded us how vulnerable we are when it comes to infectious diseases. Early 2020, when everybody was focused on infection control, we actually said at the time that when vaccines become available, our mindset is going to shift from infection control to protection, from infection status to protection status. So even when vaccines become available, we now need to start making decisions based on someone's immune to start looking away from population type decisions where it's one size fits all. So that's exactly what's been happening. Now that we have vaccines, many questions are coming up. One of the primary questions right now is who is going to need a booster shot? And we believe that the key to this answer is it's got to be based on individual immune response. So if somebody has a weak immune response, it would be sensible to start prioritizing them when it comes to booster shots. But if somebody has a very strong, robust immune response, we would, it would only make sense to make them lower priority when it comes to booster. And of course, that's just one example. So how do we handle Aditxt Core? Aditxt Core actually is pretty simple. It's a transactional based. It is not a kit that we put on the shelf where people buy it. It is designed to be a lab developed test. And what that means, our channel partners, be it a hospital, a lab, collects a sample, sends the sample to our Richmond Center. We process the sample and we send them back results. Right now with Aditxt Core for COVID-19, we're looking at 10 different analytes, 3 antibodies, and each one against 3 different antigens to give us that high specificity and high sensitivity that we're looking for. In addition to that, we're adding neutralizing antibodies to give us a better, more complete picture about someone's immune response. In addition to that, we're adding cellular immunity to begin to understand the durability and the long-term effectiveness of our immune response against COVID-19. 3 examples of Aditxt Core reports for COVID-19. On the left-hand side on your screen, somebody who has no exposure whatsoever. In the middle, this is a report for someone who had natural exposure. And on the right-hand side, this is a report for someone who developed immune response through vaccines. Beyond COVID-19, we're looking to develop Aditxt Core for type 1 diabetes. This is something that we're currently working on as the second application for Aditxt Core as a platform. We announced just a few months ago the establishment of our Aditxt Core Immune Monitoring Center in Richmond, Virginia, with a capacity to process 10 million Aditxt Cores annually. And of course, our goal is to go beyond the 10 million as our next milestone. We've been just recently, obviously, we've been working operationally on how we can scale Aditxt Core, including working on our reimbursement strategy, private reimbursement, as well as on the public side with Medicare. Finally, on the therapeutic side, we're advancing 3 programs. We're advancing our program in type 1 diabetes, in psoriasis, in skin allograft, and as you saw probably recently, we also started preclinical work, exploratory work in multiple sclerosis in the CNS field. This is the final diagram to kind of show the progress in each program. Again, 3 major programs going forward: psoriasis, type 1 diabetes, skin allograft, and we're targeting second half of 2022 to begin clinical trials. And in parallel, we will be working on multiple sclerosis in a preclinical setting. So with that, really, I want to summarize our company as such. We've been working on advancing our innovation platforms from the monitoring side as well as the therapeutic side. And right now, the focus, now and especially in 2022, our focus is on commercialization. How do we commercialize Aditxt Core and get into meaningful revenues with Aditxt Core, starting with infectious diseases and followed by autoimmunity and type 1 diseases. And then number two, our commercialization strategy for the therapeutic side is to advance the 3 indications I mentioned earlier into clinical trials, pending, of course, regulatory approval by second half of 2022. With that, I'm going to conclude my presentation and thank you again for your interest in Aditxt.
Thank you, Amro Albana, the CEO of Aditxt right there. Ticker up on the screen, ADXT. And yeah, thank you, Amro.